Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Parks and Travel podcast, covering parks, public lands, and historic landmarks across America and around the world. Welcome, everyone, to Big Blend Radio's Parks and Travel show. Today, we're very excited to be focusing on a very special store and an awesome organization, Western National Parks Association. And you can go to their website, WNPA.org. What's so great about this association is that they help to actually fund some of our park programs. They're going to explain all that to us in a bit. But they have this amazing store in Oro Valley, Arizona, which is in greater Tucson area. So if you're going to Saguaro National Park, or if you're going to Casa Grande Ruins National Monument, or Chiricahua, all those wonderful parks we have, you want to stop there first. They're also like a visitor center. And our dear friend Eva Eldridge, she writes a lot of different stories for Big Blend magazines and also comes on Big Blend Radio all the time. Well, she heard about the store and she went over there pretty fast. Didn't you, Eva? You were like, I want to go.
I was excited about it.
And since then, and you've got a great article, and everyone, that's linked in the episode notes. It's also featured on nationalparktraveling.com. But so now you've been there twice since you were there?
Yes, I've been there twice.
Within 2 weeks, like literally.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a good sign.
I have a friend from Alaska that's visiting us right now. And so when she came to town, it's like, well, what do you want to do? And it's like, I don't care. It's like, well, I just went to this incredible national park store. Let's go. And she was up for it. So we went and visited the store. She did way more damage than I did.
Oh.
She bought quite a bit of stuff. She bought some of those beautiful, beautiful Mata Ortiz, the earrings that has the broken pottery in it. And she bought a bunch of other stuff. So, and she's still wearing the earrings. They're beautiful on her. So yeah, I got some artwork, and I got a pair of earrings and a rubber ducky and a couple other things. And I'm totally thrilled with the place.
Wow. And I love it because of the books. I remember going there and getting some of the books that really showcase our parks. And it's like, there's so many different, it's dangerous. I remember getting quite a few books there. And it just, it's like you said in your article, it's like a visitor center. So would you recommend people coming to the region for the first time? And especially right now. And today, by the way, as this airs, it is the anniversary of the Great American Outdoors Act, which is super important. And it's a fee-free day in the parks. We'll talk about that in a second. But would you recommend this as a place for travelers coming through the area? I know, the Tucson region is a corridor for road trippers. So would you say stop there?
Absolutely, because they have ideas for and books on all the parks around here. So if you don't know what to do in the area and you really want to see the local nature or what we have to offer, there are books on everything. There's urban hiking trails in Tucson. There is so much information available within 20 feet of the door, that if anybody leaves there and can't find a thing to do, then they're not an outdoor person. But there's other stuff too. I mean, I'm totally blown away by the information they had available there.
I'm also very excited to learn about the connection between the local artists and the indigenous artists to this store, because sometimes that's a very difficult thing of being able to even purchase it and actually even learn about this art. So I love this part of it. So I'm going to bring Joanna Johnson on the show. Welcome, Joanna. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
So you saw Eva in the store. Did you get to meet her?
Yes, yeah.
Awesome.
I had the pleasure of spending the morning with her, and it was a lot of fun to just talk to her about what we do and who we are and what we represent. So it was a nice morning. It was a really nice morning.
So what is your function at the Western National Parks Association?
So I am the Southern Arizona Operations Manager, and so I help to oversee 10 parks, including the National Park Store. So I work with our park partners and help support them and with their programs, and work with our field team out there that run those bookstores. So
Okay.
that's what I do.
So there's different bookstores all in the different park areas, right? Because even in the parks, in their visitor centers, that's part of what you do too, right?
Yes, we manage those. We have field staff in a lot of them, not all of them, and a lot of them. and we buy all of those wonderful little pieces of memorabilia that the park rangers have approved for us to stock in the store that speak to the stories and the interpretation of that particular park.
Very cool. So I also want to welcome Lauren Mooney on the show. Welcome, Lauren. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much for having us. This is really exciting listening to how you're speaking about the store and our organization. And my role in the organization is I'm the Chief Revenue Officer and Vice President of Partnerships, which goes back to who we are as an organization. I've been with WNP. We've evolved into a new brand. So we're Western National Parks. We got a younger, trendier looking facelift, which is really exciting. But I've been with the organization for 11 and a half years, and you are talking to two true retailers. So for two true retailers to be in this environment doing what we do is amazing. And I get so inspired because what I think is so important for the listeners to understand, number one, the National Park Store is a gem. It's a hidden gem. And the 72 parks in 12 Western states that we partner with to run the retail and the visitor centers to extend their experience, those two, a lot of them are hidden gems. And to understand the National Park Store, to really appreciate how much of a hidden gem and you need to go see it, is to truly understand who we are as an organization. Because I hear so many people, like I was just at water aerobics over the weekend and I heard somebody saying they went to the store and I was like, oh, I love this. I work there. And they talked about it as this great gift shop, as this. And then when I actually told them that that's our headquarters and that's our flagship store, and I told them all of the things we do, that we've provided $162 million over the 87 years that we've been around to support education and interpretation in parks, it makes the experience at the National Park Store so much more special. So it's not just a store. It's not just stuff on the shelves. It's not just books. Everything has a story. Everything has a reason. Our staff at the National Park Store, if you go and buy jewelry, Eva, I'm sure with those earrings, you learned who the artist was. I'm sure you learned what kind of stone it was. If you were to come in and buy a Navajo weaving a rug probably from Hubble Trading Post, which is one of the parks that we partner with, you will learn about who the weaver was, probably who his wife is, who picked out the yarn, do they have their own churro sheep, how long it took them, what their day job is. You know, it's about education for us. It's not just about selling stuff. So yes, if you're in the area and you have the opportunity to go, you're not going to find better recommendations than from Joanna and I, because we love it. We could talk for hours.
You know, I know that there's this thing about how do parks stay accessible beyond the boundaries of the park? It's a very important thing. And I think the arts and books really pave that way, where, you know, when your friend Mary's got those earrings, Eva, I think this is something we're going to use the earrings all day long. But the earrings, like that story, every time she wears those earrings, that's reminding her of the people that made them, of the area, and it transcends time. And then sometimes those get passed down through generations as well. So, you know, it's like the gift that keeps giving. Can either of you tell me how, and for the listeners, how when someone purchases something, what happens with the revenue from that standpoint? Because how does it go back and help our parks?
So we have a shared resource model. So we have our 72 parks and we're a nonprofit, and our business model is retail. So that's how we raise money. We also have a philanthropic arm where we raise money that way as well. So it goes back into supporting our staff. So our staff comes in the form of indirect aid because our staff works in the field. They work side by side with the park rangers. And so you may walk into a national park like Saguaro National Park, and you walk into the visitor center and there's the store area. Most people don't understand that it's run by a nonprofit, that it's run by us, Western National Parks. They think it's the Park Service that's running it. But we provide this function, this service, this visitor service for them. So the money goes back to support our staff that's helping to support the parks. And then there's another form of actual direct aid. That's money that specifically goes to support programs in the parks, or if they have, like during November when it's Native American History Month or Heritage Month, I'm totally messing that up, Joanna, but we help to pay for artists to come and do demonstrations to demonstrate their craft, or maybe there's a hoop dancing demonstration. We support programs like that. We also, the money that we raise goes back into research for the park. So parks can apply for research grants. So it comes in many different forms. It's not just, we make money, we hand money back. It goes back into the parks in many different ways, which again, for two true retailers, there's not a better feeling than the things you put on the shelf have purpose and meanings. And to your point, I mean, that's how we started in 1938 at Casa Grande through donor funding. We started out as publishers. We're still publishers. We publish books. But we started out with these little high-level information packets. So you would go to a park, you'd go to Casa Grande, you'd get this little pamphlet, very high level about the park. So you could take that away with you as a memory, sits on your coffee table, your friend comes over, picks this up and is like, what is this? Casa Grande, I've never heard of that. And then they read about it. And then it inspires them to maybe go visit the park or tell a friend about the park. And that's kind of how we started. And then it turned into product. So at the National Park Store, we're not attached to a park, but we are in kind of on the way to nowhere. It's in a biotech area. So we created this experience. So it's off the beaten path, which we've used that in our marketing taglines, but it's well worth the trip. So when you go there, it's a destination. And to your point, Eva, your friend came into town and what are we going to do? That's what a lot of people in the area do. They bring their families there because it's a place where you can learn about the area. You can learn about the Sonoran Desert. You can learn about our cultural crossroads. We have amazing artists in Mexico that come up and we share their knowledge and their talents and our American Indian experience and all our national parks. I mean, you could spend hours there just learning and participating in programs.
That's awesome. One thing you mentioned was, actually this weaving and going up, into northern Arizona to smaller areas, like to the trading post there, right? How many people actually get there? So do you think that you're also helping in that function to be able to educate beyond the park boundaries? I'm going back to that again because I know it's important, but with people coming in and seeing this work and seeing the stories behind that, if someone is on short time coming to Arizona, it might be their one chance and they don't get to go all the way up there. And it is in Arizona, right? Or is it on that border?
It's in Arizona, but it's on Navajo Nation.
That's right. So a lot of people have not actually been able to get in there. Or just timing wise, right? On a road trip and I think you're also helping our friends from overseas come over and get some education and knowledge of where they want to spend their time. But if someone doesn't get to go out there, this is a way for them to experience it in a way, wouldn't you think, with the artist's work?
Absolutely. I think it's our team there at the National Park Store. And we don't only just have rugs. We have other things from Hubble trading posts that we carry jewelry and cute little wooden carvings of chickens and crows and I
the crow.
I really love those. So we can tell you about who made them and who the artisan is. And so it's just a little extension, and we also have books that we can provide that if they want to do a deeper dive into Hubble and they didn't have the time, we can show them some other ways that they can educate themselves and learn more.
And Hubble Trading Post comes down every year and does an amazing 2-day show with talks and just tells you all about the post. I mean, that's been one of our initiatives, bring the parks to the people, right? Because not everybody can get out there. So this is just one way for people to access something maybe that they can't, or to come and be inspired to go learn more about the parks. Now, there's so many, like Canyon de Chelly. How many people have heard of Canyon de Chelly? But if you're going to go to Hubble Trading Post, you absolutely need to go to Canyon de Chelly because they're up there and they're both amazing.
Yeah, I love this. So you're doing these, these actual events. So npa.org is a website for everyone to go to, right? The important, you go there and then click on store, go there, have fun. So, and people can go online and shop, right? Or is it specifically in the store?
You can go online, yes. And so our online store, we have a representation from all of the parks that we represent and some things that you won't find in the park store. You also should probably go to WNPA.org, or we're newly branded, so WNP.org. Sign up
Okay.
for our newsletter, sign up to get information, learn more about us. I've mentioned this to Joanna before. You can tell we're so passionate about our organization. We love it. But I kind of think about us similar to like Patagonia, right? Years ago, I
Yeah.
remember seeing Patagonia clothing on a rack. And I remember the little tag that was like 1% for the planet. And that really, I gravitated to that. And Patagonia, similar to us, it's not just about the stuff they sell. It's about what they're doing as an
Yeah.
organization. They're doing amazing things. So when you go to their website, you're hit with I'm just here to buy clothes. You're here to buy clothes that are going to support these amazing things they're
Oh,
doing. Our organization is the same thing. You're not just buying things, you're buying stories, and you're also, the things you're purchasing are going right back to support the thing that you love. If you love outdoor space and public lands and national parks.
I think this is super timely too. As we all know, our national parks are going through budget cuts. It's just, this happens. They've always been dealing with budget cuts actually for years. And this is a way when people feel, a little anxious about all of this, which we should feel, because these are beautiful public spaces that are not just about the beauty of the nature and the outdoor spaces, but they're also preserving, protecting, interpreting our American history. Like one of the parks that I think is so known about, like, is Fort Bowie out by Chiricahua National Monument. That place, Fort Bowie, that history, the Apache Wars, the Bascom Affair, and then you've got Geronimo history, and then the Butterfield Stage Route, and in this incredible scenery, right? And walking through Apache Spring. Okay, I'll go on and on about that park for another hour, but these little parks are so important to be funded because of staffing and things like that. And so I think if people are feeling anxious about this, one of the ways is to support a park, friend, like what you are doing with WNP. And actually, you go purchase through something like that. I know there's these big online box store things that we have. And if you want to shop online, well, go to WNP.org. See, I'm getting there. I'm dropping the A. So, do that. And if you want to go in, have a true experience with that. And then maybe go to the events if you're in the region. So there's a switch we can make as individuals in how we purchase things. And so I think that's a really good thing. And it makes it really special for people to be able to purchase something that has a meaning and a story behind it for a friend. So holiday season's not that far away. I know it's summer. We all are feeling the heat, but it's coming. And if you're road tripping, start your shopping now, because we don't want the silly stuff that happens at the end of the year. It gets a little nutty. So I think that's important for people to know about, support parks where you can, and this is a way to do it. Joanna, I wanted to say that today, as this airs, it premieres now, but I know people listen whenever they want. We're in that society on demand, right?
Yeah.
Today is the Great American Outdoors Act anniversary, which is so exciting, but I know that is a fee-free day for the national parks, right? Which is nice for the public, but you do a discount in the stores, right, for this? And is it for every fee-free day?
Yes, we offer 15% off everything in the store. And so it's just a nice way to celebrate and to provide accessibility to everybody who is coming into our parks, and to just take a little memory, a little piece of their visit, a little memorabilia, and also feel like they're supporting, as we spoke about, supporting their parks and what we like to call retail with a purpose too.
Awesome. And so I think November 11th, Veterans Day, is a fee-free day, isn't it? I think it is. So that's close to the holiday season. I know some of that changes, so always Google that. But just go to WNP.org and check that. Also in the episode links, we have Eva's article there. Eva, are we missing anything from your great experience that I feel very jealous over? Though I did get books once and years ago, so now I know I have to go back.
I have to come back, Lisa.
I know, we will.
I enjoyed, well, we had Joanna and Julie talking to me, telling me about all the stuff and what they do. I enjoyed that personal touch of the sale. And when I went back, we had a salesperson talk to us about in opening the cases and explaining the stuff to us. I think that really helps a person connect to whatever they're looking at, the pieces that they're looking at. I think that makes a huge connection for me because it's personal, right? You're having somebody who really cares and is passionate about it. I love the fact that some of the proceeds goes back to the parks because we know the parks are in trouble. I just read an article today about the park and what issues they're encountering now because they don't have the staff to help fix things or guide things or direct things. So to me, it's really important that we support whatever we can in any way we can. And I was so impressed by the fact that you could walk in and find out things about other parks. It's not just Saguaro National Park, or it was all the other parks too. And, Casa Grande Ruins and Organ Pipe and all the other things. And things like Casa Grande Ruins isn't that out of the way, but the Hubble Trading Post isn't easy to get to, right? And neither is Canyon de Chelly, and you need to be escorted into Canyon de Chelly. I mean, when I did it, we had to drive in with our 4-wheel drive and we got stuck and I had to dig us out. And
now that's a road trip
it was
adventure
quite the
there.
adventure. Well, I think you can I think the natives have Jeep tours and stuff. They probably handle it a little differently now than when I went in there. But being able to see that, I don't know why that store just affected me a great deal. And now anytime I have company, I'll be dragging them up there.
I love that. I just, Eva is also, not only a writer, but she's also in the publishing world and is an editor and is just a big book person and is co-president of the Tucson Sisters in Crime. So when she gets stuck in the sand, she might be burying a body. I'm just kidding. She does all the crime and mystery. I can't interview any of them without starting to talk about burying things in the desert. Sorry, it's terrible. But Eva, going in and looking at the books in there, and it's as we started traveling full time, we literally gave up everything. And so she really does have our books, a lot of them. It's no joke. Going in there and seeing the book collection, I know that that's a danger zone for me. Like, Nancy and I both go if there's national park books, I want them all. And it's those books. I can't remember years ago when we first got back to this country, and it's before we even started our magazine in this country. And we come from South Africa and Kenya, where we did publishing and all of that. And I remember when we first got here and we had to restart our lives and everything and get jobs. And then we went, no, we're going back into publishing. I remember buying these books on the parks here because I grew up living in basically the national parks in Kenya and South Africa and all of that. So I'm like, what's America about, And there's this book and it was all these parks and one was on the highways of America. So this makes all sense to us being on the road full time. And I remember seeing Padre Island National Seashore. Now, I don't know if you cover Texas as part of the West. You do? Okay.
We do.
It's
one of our parks.
And I'm like, look at this pelican. I don't know what it is. And that there were alligators out there and everything. I'm like, I have to go to this national seashore. And it was just one photo of a pelican. I know this sounds ridiculous. And it took how many years? Last February, we finally got there to Padre Island National Seashore. And it was this fluke thing of a detour. And we're like, no, we've got like so many hours. We are going. I'm going to see the pelican. And I did. I saw them all in grand display. And the only thing was I didn't have as much time as I wanted there. But it was from that book. That detour would never have happened if it wasn't from that book. And I bet you have the book. Eva, you have that book because that book is never going anywhere other than to Eva's and us, So you know what I mean about that? It's like, those stories will get people to places that it just sticks with you. And I remember just sitting there going, I got my pelican in Padre Island. I know it sounds really lame, but it's not.
No.
It was like a full circle thing. It was just, I can't even explain it, but I always went, I'm going here. I will get there. And we did.
My writing about the parks and stuff too is not to tell you all the details about them. Of course, you have to do some of that, but I want to convey the emotion. And I want to I want people to want to go to the parks. So that's the way I try to write it. When I write things up, I want to inspire them to go visit as opposed to say, if you detail, so you go to the parks website and you get to read the details, right? They give you all the details. That doesn't necessarily inspire me to go. Sometimes it does, but mostly when I write an article, I want people to go experience it because that's what I'm doing and it gets me excited. When I did Fort Union up in New Mexico,
Fort Windy.
I mean, Fort Windy, and no kidding, I opened the car door and it goes whoosh. And I'm sorry, my dog's in the room with me and she's being noisy. I want people to go experience that. Go up there and look at those runes. I mean, it's just that's how I want to write a story. I want the emotion to go with it.
So
I think that's that. Oh, sorry, Joanna, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's part of some of the best stories when our visitors come to the National Park Store is hearing about their adventures and hearing their stories about their trips to national parks and also what made it special for them. And that's amazing to be able to share that back and forth with them. So yeah, we love that. That makes our day. Go ahead, Lauren.
And what I was going to say is in our 87 years as we've evolved, we've actually, now what we're doing is just to your point, Eva, we're like a destination inspiration organization where we're helping to inspire people to go explore these places. And one of the places where you can do that is at the National Park Store. And I just want to clarify because all of our proceeds, everything that we make through our retail goes back to the parks in a form of aid. So it's not a piece of, it may be in the form of our staff. It could be in the form of actual monetary amount. It could be in the form of research. It comes in many different forms, but everything that we do goes back to the park. So I just want to be clear on that. And also Canyon de Chelly does have one trail, the White House Trail, that was closed for a while during COVID, but it is open and the public can access that trail unaccompanied.
Okay, so things have changed up. So Eva, what did you think of the books in the store? Would I get in trouble? Like with Nancy?
Yeah, I really had to restrain myself from buying books. I'm trying not to buy books so much because I have way too many of them. But yeah, incredible books about anything and everything you want to know about all the parks. So, or I like the stuff that they have a lot of local Tucson and Tucson area information. So I'm really blown away by the urban hiking trails.
That's cool.
I mean, that's something you could grab. Anybody who wants to get to know Tucson a little better, that's a great resource right there. So there were just lots. Yes, you'd be in trouble with the books. They have an extraordinary amount of them with a huge variety of information. A lot of history books. They have fiction. They have fiction in there from local or close by artists, authors.
That's cool.
I'm impressed with that. Yeah. You can never have too many books, but lots of them. Yeah.
Because I know there's so many memoirs written too. Was it last year we interviewed Kevin Fedorko, who did A Walk in the Park? And Judy Carnio, I know we were on the picnic show together, Eva. She was reading the book and I said, here's the interview we did with him. And she's like, this is so cool. I can hear his voice now while I'm reading his book. I'm like, this is a trip. But anyway, things like that, the memoirs. Yeah. Did he do an author talk with you? Oh, he's amazing, isn't he?
He's a speaker.
That's awesome that you do that kind of thing. No. Do you have field guides as well? I wanted to talk about that because I know when it comes to plants, for example, when people come to the desert, they don't always, if they've never been to the desert, don't actually understand what's a flower or what's not a flower. And it's a whole different world of plants. So do you have those kind of field guides?
Yes, we have on plants and cactus and animals. So then that way, if you encounter a javelina on your hike, right, which can happen, that you're informed. So depending on what your interest is, and we have different levels of information. We have the little field guides that you can carry with you. Or we have books that you can really take a deeper dive and learn a little bit more. So
awesome. So in closing, I want to ask each of you, and Eva, you get to do this again because, why not? If you're going to go shopping, okay, it's like it's all paid for, right? You're going to take a day off and you're going to go shopping and then go to the park or whatever, right? One of the parks. If you're going to go in and buy something that you really, really want, maybe a gift for somebody else, who knows? But one item, or it could be more, what do you want to put in your basket? Your that little shopping cart we get when we buy online. So what's in your cart? Lauren, let's start with you, because you're the money lady. You're the revenue officer. What do you want in your cart?
Oh my gosh, there's so many
It's
things
me.
in
This
that
is a mean
store.
question. I never prepared any of you for it.
I probably, because we deal all of the jewelry that we have and all the pottery that we have, like we either buy directly from the artist or through traders that we've been working with for years and years and years and years who know the artist that they're buying from directly. I would probably purchase or put in my cart, because somebody else is purchasing it for me, right? And some amazing like Navajo squash blossom necklace that I would probably never do that for myself. But if somebody was helping me in my cart, I would probably want that, because there's so much work and there's so many stories that go with it. That would have a lot of meaning for me.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. What about you, Joanna?
I think a Navajo rug, just because once again, the meaning behind the rug and who made it and their story, and watching Tanita when she comes to our here in Tucson, she's the weaver, and watching them weave that rug and the time and the talent that it takes, I'm in awe of them. And so for me, I would want a Navajo rug, because they're just so beautiful and amazing, and the connection with the artist and their talent is
awesome. It is amazing watching that. And everything tells a story, even the colors,
Yes.
It all does. It all does. What about you, Eva?
One of the Oaxacan carvings, bigger, detailed, very extremely detailed ones. I did buy one of those when I was there the other day. A little one, but I would like one of the bigger ones. They're beautiful, and the detail work on them is amazing.
Well, I'm going to go into the bookshelf. I know it's going to happen. The bookstore is going to be just like, I'd like to fill a shelf with field guides. I think the field guides I need the field guides. I need them for research. But I love what you were talking about, urban trails in Tucson, because Tucson is incredible. I remember putting a story together years ago, and I don't think it published because I didn't finish, because I got overwhelmed with how many parks we had been to in the Tucson region. I think I was at like almost 40 parks of trails. I mean, because you got Sabino Canyon and all the community parks, and Oro Valley is incredible so I want to recommend that people go to the park store, unp.org is a website, go there. And while you're there, there's this amazing art trail of public art in Oro Valley that takes you into the community park. So I recommend people do that. So thank you all for joining us. And Eva's article is in the episode notes, and you can keep up with her at evaeldridge.com. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. It was great seeing you and meeting you, Lisa.
Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Parks and Travel podcast. Visit nationalparktraveling.com to plan your next park adventure and to see our Parks and Travel digital magazine. You can keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.